Welcome to Glacier Bay National Park. What you're looking at over there is the Marjorie Glacier. Spin you over here. You have the Grand Pacific on this side and the east side. This is all Canada back in there. The birds are a lot of glaucous-winged gulls and kittiwakes. Lots of ice in the bay today. Nice tinkling noises. Yeah, just thought I'd share. It's beautiful here.
And at this time, we will be doing commentary. So it's great seeing all of you out on the decks. I think you had a wonderful time at the Mountain and Forest Glacier. They are truly natural world wonders. And if you're able to speak with everybody and to hear what questions you have about the glaciers and about Glacier Day. So I just wanted to answer over the mic some of the questions that we do get. And the first one being, do the whales come up this far? And honestly, the whales can be anywhere. We do tend to see more whale activity in the lower bay. So the lower third of the bay, that's where we implement whale waters, which restricts vessels going a certain knots, as well as that they cannot get within 1 nautical mile of the shore. And that is because humpback whales typically do their feeding along the shorelines. But they are free to swim wherever, so we have seen them this far up. It is just more common that we see them in the lower bay areas. So later this afternoon, I really recommend to start looking for those humpback whales. We say, if you see a spout, shout it out, let your neighbors know. They have 15-foot tall spouts or blows that are often next to the shorelines, and that's where they are feeding on forage fish. Another is, are there fish in the water? And yes, there are fish in the water. Typically the salmon are not coming up quite this far. So Alaska has all 5 species of Pacific Run salmon. And although they will travel in the silty main channels, they do their spawning in the clear water tributaries. So in this area, we may see the more of the salmon activity, which they are starting to come in now near the clear water areas. So not as close to the glaciers. And also people, again, had questions about the Ferris Glacier, and I know it's pretty atypical to see a glacier that has so much sediment on it, but that indeed is also a glacier, and as I understand it, this ship came from Yakutat, or the Hubbard Glacier. So you can see that glaciers come in all different sizes and shapes. The Marjorie Glacier is a really good example of a tidewater glacier, meaning that it starts in high elevation, and in this case, the Fairweather Mountains, and then flows down to the sea, flows down to the ocean. And the Ferris Glacier is also doing that. It is just coming from a much, much lower elevation in the St. Elias Mountains, which are in Canada. And it is not moving very much, and it's losing mass. So it has collected all of that sediment from medial moraines. So as the glaciers are moving towards the ocean, it's scraping up a lot of that sediment along the valley walls, and it's bringing that along with it, with the glacier, as well as landslides and other things that are happening. So glaciers are dynamic. They don't look just like one thing. There's different types of glaciers. There's valley glaciers that don't come in. There are hanging glaciers that are on cliff sides. There are Piedmont glaciers that kind of spread out at its terminus. So, and then also another question I got was, are these glaciers receding? And sadly, 95% of the glaciers in the state of Alaska are receding. We do have one in the area that is advancing, and that is the Johns Hopkins Glacier. That is because it has a large terminal moraine that helps protect the face of the glacier and gives it an opportunity to grow. So I hope that answered some of your questions. At this time, we are reopening the National Park Service desk in the Vista Lounge that is on Deck 7. So you can visit Ranger Akasha, Ranger Nate, and Ranger Sean down there. And we will keep that desk open for you all until 4 p.m. So there's educational material, there's a touch table, you can learn about the different animals that call Glacier Bay home, as well as the glaciers themselves. In the same room, in the Vista Lounge, you can visit the Alaska Geographic Park store, and they will be open also until 4 p.m., so definitely check them out.
It's an eagle.